Hi everyone, so I just wanted to share with you a little experience that I had today, and that is of my straw. I went out to a restaurant, and it was a takeout place, so you couldn't eat inside, but you could take it out and go to the patio. And when I got my drink, I discovered that the one side had been crimped, and let me show it to you, because I actually did cut it trying to do this illustration earlier and it didn't save, but the side was crimped just like that, and obviously even though I tried to tear it, it's plastic, it wouldn't tear, so I couldn't use my straw, and I ended up having to take the lid off, and I just drank my lemonade in that way without using a straw. But sometimes we feel like we're not whole. Whether that be through something physical, whether we have a hearing loss, a form of disability, we've gone through certain tragedies in our life, some hardships, and we're left feeling like we're not whole. But the straw would be no good if both sides were still crimped. If both sides were whole. It had to be cut. It had to be cut in order for it to fulfill its purpose. And sometimes we need to also be cut. We need to go through these trials. We need to have these obstacles or this difficulty in our lives in order to fulfill the purpose that we are meant to, in order to find the reason why we were put on this earth and fulfill that purpose. We need to be cut. We need to go through those struggles. I spent a long time, especially as a teenager, wishing I didn't have hearing loss. I'd gone through bullying, and I was struggling in school, and I really wished I just wanted to blend in and be like everybody else. But if I were like everybody else, then I wouldn't be me, and I wouldn't be fulfilling my purpose. And I needed that hearing loss to separate me and to fulfill my purpose, because I would not be able to sit here today, or stand here today, and talk to all of you about hearing loss and have the empathy that I have if I hadn't gone through it myself. This was something that has allowed me to make an impact in ways that I wouldn't have otherwise if I hadn't gone through it myself. I couldn't tell you about listening fatigue and overcoming it and persevering through school if I hadn't experienced it myself. I wouldn't know what success is if I hadn't experienced failure. And sometimes that's what we need. And sometimes the purpose behind the pain that we experience is to cut us, is to prune us, as in, to use a gardening term, bushes and flowers, they need their leaves cut back in order to grow stronger and grow more blooms if it's a flower. And a straw needs to be cut in order to fulfill its purpose. So if you're going through pain, or you're struggling with something and you're wondering why you're going through it and you wish you didn't have to, please understand that maybe you are being molded and transformed into the person that you are meant to be, so that you can fulfill the purpose, the reason why you were put on this earth. And if you didn't have that struggle, you would never be able to fulfill your purpose. You would never be able to be who you truly are. You'd never be able to have the level of impact that you're going to have if you didn't have that struggle. So it's just something that I want all of you to think about today, I understand, questioning God. The whole why me, I've done it plenty of times. No one likes to struggle. I certainly don't like to struggle. And I'm not trying to sound, super spiritual here. Sorry, I thought I was losing my microphone. Because certainly when I've gone through pain, I have not been super spiritual about it. I have not said, okay, God, bring it on me, and I'll do whatever you want, and I'll take any burdens that you give me. I have struggled. I have questioned. I have said, why me? But in the end, when I look back, I see that, God has used that in order to help me fulfill the purposes of my life, the reasons why I was meant to be here on this earth, in order for me to have the impact that I was meant to have. Because we all need, sympathy is good, empathy is better. And when you have empathy for someone, you understand what they are going through, most often because you've also experienced it yourself, or you've experienced something similar. Someone who's never been hurt can't really sit down with someone who has been hurt and really have that heart-to-heart connection, have that bond with the other person, because they've never been hurt. Someone that's never had their heart broken and never gone through that type of sorrow can't really empathize with someone who has a broken heart. Yes, they can sit down with them, they can talk with them, they can give them sympathy, but they don't know what the other person has walked through. So they don't have that same level of empathy as someone else who's had that heartbreak and who's had those struggles or that level of pain. So if you're going through pain right now, realize that there's a purpose behind it, and that you will come through it stronger than you were before, and molded more into the person that you are meant to become, and that it will be used to create a bigger impact on the lives of those around you, maybe even the lives of those far away from you. You don't know the level of impact that it will have. So it's just something I wanted to share with all of you, and I hope you're all having a great day. I'm going to go enjoy the rest of this beautiful day, and I will talk to you all soon. Bye.